Guys, when I say it is hot, I mean it is hot out here. It is pushing 100 degrees. It is crazy. It is crazy out in these streets, but the video must go on. So let's get started. No, I'm serious. Let's do this. Hi guys, my name is Priscilla and welcome back to my channel. Last night we had the finale of The Acolyte, and there's so much that I can say about the show. But obviously you guys know that I'm a huge Oshamir shipper. We got what we wanted. We did it, guys. We made it. We made it. We were not wrong. We were right. We saw glimpses of Oshamir and it came to fruition. So big ups to us. We did this. We did this. Oshamir fandom, you guys, we are phenomenal. And to the show for giving us Oshamir. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Now you got to give us a season 2, without a doubt, because there were too many things that are unanswered, things that we need to see more of. We need more clarification, and that's why we need a season 2. Obviously, with Kair and Vernestra, when they both noticed each other's presence, clearly we have to get a season 2. Also, in regards to seeing how the potential, or we're going to start to see the change of the council, the Jedi Council, now that Soul's name has been tarnished, has been destroyed, that may be the very thing that causes the Jedi their not idea, but their image in society to be somewhat changed. It might have actually been Soul, because Vernestra, she again tarnished his name. So I want to see how the Jedi Council and the other Jedi are going to deal with now the retribution of what Vernestra has done. So once again, definitely need that season 2. But since I was talking about Soul, that is what I want to start off with, because when OSHA KO'd him, I legitimately felt bad. And the reason why is because until the very end, Soul kept saying he did the right thing. And I genuinely feel that he completely, really believes this, that he thinks that he did the right thing. And first, I guess I want to start by saying that I originally thought, this was my opinion, guys, let me know down in the comments how you guys took this in episode 7. I thought that Soul took out Mother Anisea because he thought that she was going to sacrifice one of the twins. That's what I thought. When she kind of went poof and turned into that like smoky type of thing, I thought that Soul was under the impression that she was going to sacrifice one of the twins. And so that's why he stabbed her with the lightsaber before she could potentially do that. Now, we know that that's not what Mother Anisea was going to do, but I think maybe that's what he thought. That's how I took it. And I think that there were a lot of things about the series that kind of made it seem like there was going to be some type of sacrifice. Again, the fact that OSHA and May are the only children there. For what reason? They kept talking about this ascension, and no lie, to a certain degree, I think I thought when I was watching, was it episode 3? Episode 3 and 7, I think I was thinking that snap, she might sacrifice one of them. So that's why I thought Soul had taken her out. That's what I had thought. But again, let me know down in the comments. But here's the big flaw that Soul made. He did not own up to the fact that he was the one that, again, KO'd Mother Anisea. I know that both OSHA and May were very young. I think they were 8 years old at the time. So I can understand why he didn't tell them then. But definitely when they got a little bit older, he could have really just sat OSHA down and fully explained, look, this is what happened. This is why we were on your planet of Brendok. This is what we came to do. This is what we heard about this virgins or something like that. And this is what happened. This is what I thought about the coven. This is what I thought about your mother. I genuinely wanted to save you. If he would have just owned up to why he was actually there and what was fully going on, I don't feel like OSHA would have had this big of a reaction. And that's another thing. I thought that it was going to be May that was actually going to be the one to get rid of Master Soul. I did not think it was going to be OSHA. But when all of a sudden he started being choked and she said, "Stop talking," darn, like I legitimately felt bad for Soul. You know, he even said it's okay. And I really do feel like he definitely cared for both of the sisters. I definitely feel that way. But again, I understand OSHA. She's kind of thought of Soul as this father type figure, and he has not necessarily lied, but he has not given the whole truth. And people will say that if you're not telling the whole truth, then it is a form of lying anyway. So I think that her just mindset of the Jedi, her view of the Jedi, her view specifically of Soul just completely changed. The fact that, you know, she thought that her sister was the one that had done certain things, and really that wasn't the case in its entirety. It was as though she just flipped a switch. And that's actually another thing that I want to discuss really quickly. The show did a phenomenal job of visually showing OSHA transition from the light to the dark side. We saw it. If you guys have watched my last video, and I will link it down in the description box below, definitely check out my last video. I talked about how OSHA has always come off as a character that is kind of holding herself back. She seems like she's confining herself a little bit. She seems like she maybe is still taking on certain aspects and training of the Jedi in regards to withholding a lot of her emotions. So she's always kind of came off as this kind of constant character, just very constant in emotion, very constant in demeanor. But once she gets with Kair in episode 6, from that point forward, by the questions that he's asking her, it is allowing her to be more open and actually confront emotions that she probably really has never confronted before, at least not to this specific degree. So I think that all of those years of restraining herself and of holding back and of confining her emotions, when she heard Soul say that he was the one that took out her mother, she flipped her switch. She flipped her switch, and again, it was a phenomenal job of showing that transition happen, because we saw the kyber crystal start to bleed. We saw it go from blue to red, and the fact that it was Soul's lightsaber as well, is like, darn. Why? Of course, I mean, I know it's Soul's lightsaber, but darn. And then when the lightsaber started changing color, notice how it was not an automatic change from blue to red. It was like it was pretty fast, but it was still a gradual change, and we can see it shift from blue to red. And the very tip of it was as though it was trying to hold on to that blue for just a little bit longer. But then again, her emotions was like, nope, done with that, completely red now. And when I saw that scene, the first thought that I had was, this is reminding me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's what I was thinking. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm such a huge fan of that show. And it made me think of the finale fight between Aang and Ozai, when Aang is, about to take away Ozai's bending, and he's earthbended Ozai's arms down so he can't bend. And then all of a sudden, he looks up, and then we see that Aang he's coming off as blue at first, and then all of a sudden he starts turning red because of Ozai, and we get one little eyeball left, and it's just a little bit of blue. And then, but we see again, because Aang is so powerful, and he's such a wonderfully spiritually kind and humble and powerful person. He completely goes back to blue, and he is able to take away Ozai's bending. No lie, that is what this finale of The Acolyte made me think of. It made me think of the finale of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I loved to see that. So yeah, definitely the fight sequences in this were phenomenal. Every time Kair and Soul are on screen together, just know that you are going to get a phenomenal lightsaber battle. You see, these types of fights are the fights that I wanted to see in the sequel trilogy. This is the type of lightsaber battles that I wanted to see, and although it is a few years late, better late than never, we were able to see some awesome, again, everyone is still talking about episode 5. everyone's still talking about it. I loved episode 5's battles. I loved the finale's battles. It was phenomenal. Even the battle, the hand-to-hand combat between OSHA and May was wonderful. I was like, look at them doing some taijutsu. Come on now. Love to see it. Love to see it. And the fact that all of their moves, or at least many of them, were paralleling each other, the fact that they are mirror representations, they're not twins, they're not sisters, they're actually the same person. And I knew, obviously we knew that May could fight, but when I saw OSHA fighting as well as May was, I was like, have we seen OSHA fight like this before? Or is it because they're the same person? Is she able to draw upon May's abilities? Are these Jedi abilities that she is now remembering when she was actually in fact being trained in the past? So I would love to see more of the dynamic. We have to see more of the dual dynamic between OSHA and May. I thought, going into this episode, starting at the beginning, I did not expect for May to come out of this alive. I thought that there was going to be a Dragon Ball Z moment. I thought that they were going to fuse together and that we were going to get Mosha. That's what I was thinking. I thought that OSHA was going to somehow absorb May and her energy, or, you know, her body or whatever it is, and they become one, because again, they are the same person. That's what I thought was going to happen. So now that May is still alive and now she's with the Jedi, I'm like, how is this dynamic going to push forward now? May has lost her memories. So what's the last thing that she remembers? She was 8. So how is she going to be if we do get a season 2? It'll be interesting if she actually is still able to keep some of her Force abilities and she starts learning a little bit of the light side without necessarily being trained by the Jedi. That'll be interesting to see where they do a kind of switch where OSHA's leaning dark side. Because here's the thing, now that OSHA's with Kair, I don't think that Kair is fully Sith. He's more of in this gray space. He definitely leans towards Sith. He definitely draws from the dark side, but I don't think he's completely neglected the light side. So it'll be definitely a unique experience to see how he trains her, and again, what's going to be happening to May now that she's kind of like on the opposite side of things. You know, she's going to have a different perspective to all of these things. How is she going to react now when she sees OSHA in the future as like a predominantly dark side user? It's going to be like, oh, what? I remember when you were younger, you were talking about being a Jedi. What is this, girl? What happened? What happened to you? So yeah, when they meet up again, if they meet up again, want them to, that's going to be wonderful to see. But of course, now has come the time for me to talk about OSHA and Kair. We were right. We were right. We, as Oshamir shippers, have gotten more than just crumbs. We've gotten the appetizer. We've gotten the appetizer. And season 2 is going to be the full course meal. And maybe if we get season 3, some dessert as well. I don't know. But I'm so happy to see their dynamic. And I'm going to say this right now. I want a slow burn from Kair and OSHA. I want a slow burn. I want a Kate and Anthony Bridgerton season 2 level of slow burn. I want a Pride and Prejudice Elizabeth and, oh, sorry guys, my light just turned off. I want a Pride and Prejudice Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy scandal. That's what I want. Sorry guys, yeah, my light actually just cut off, so, but you guys should still be able to see me. So I'm gonna keep the video like this for now. But yes, that is what I want, because something that I love about a slow burn is that sometimes slow burns are very subtextual. Sometimes they're not in your face. And so it makes you as the viewer look for pieces of evidence to build upon a case. And us Oshamir fans, we are all lawyers when it comes to shipping characters together. We can find crumbs. We can make lemonade out of lemons. We can do marvelous, wonderful things. So while OSHA and Kair are not in a romantic relationship as of yet, they have such a wonderful dual dynamic already. The fact that he is her master, she is the acolyte, he is her teacher, she is the student, the pupil. He said he wanted a pupil, he got one. And also, we can clearly see that Kair has compassion for OSHA. We can clearly see that. It brings me back to the prequels. What do we hear Anakin saying to Padme? He talks about compassion. He was saying, you could say that Jedi are encouraged to love. When we get to Reylo, we hear Snoke talking to Kylo Ren saying, you have compassion for her. And in Kair's case, we don't need to actually audibly hear the words. We see on screen the compassion that he has. For example, in the start of this episode, when he sees that she's struggling with the helmet and she's having like a scary moment, he quickly rushes over to her and tries to, as best as he can, to forcefully take the helmet off of her head. We see that after she KOs Master Soul, he walks over to her. He has a very like solemn, somber look on his face, and he reaches out to touch her shoulder. That was to try and comfort her. We see 2 times he's giving her the lightsaber. First, he puts his thumb over her hand. Now, was that necessary? But we can go back to episode 6 and say, was it necessary for him to bathe in front of her? No, it wasn't. But still a wonderful scene. But anyway, and then we get to the final shot in the finale. Now, notice how he was hesitant a little bit. He was holding himself back a little bit. Once we get to seeing them both in screen and he walks up to her, he's still at a tinge bit of a distance. It's like he thinks about it, because he stops at first. And then he thinks about it, and then he walks even closer to her. And now it's not just him putting, touching her finger or her shoulder. He's actually fully covering her hand with his hand. And although the lightsaber was still in his hand, in Star Wars universe, that's a huge deal. It wasn't as though it was them just holding hands with nothing in between them. There still was a lightsaber that was in between them, but it was a lot. It was a full coverage of hand. It was a Mr. Darcy hand flex moment. It was wonderful. It was so wonderful to see. So, just adding on to that, one thing that the show did phenomenally well in regards to OSHA specifically is that I've said this before, but OSHA is a very confined, constrained character. I'm not sure if I mentioned that previously, but she really has held herself back a lot. And so I wonder, now that she's going to start training under Kair, and we know that she was basically kicked out of the Jedi because she could not calm her emotions, I wonder if we're going to see Kair teaching her how to not repress her emotions, but how to control her emotions and to allow those things that he was talking about in episode 6, fear, anger, desire. How is she going to utilize those things, all of those things, and allow that to make her into an even stronger fighter, into an even stronger warrior? There's just so much that they can potentially do with OSHA and Kair together as characters. Like, I'm so excited to see the direction that they go, because we don't know what Kair's goal fully is. And what is OSHA's goal? Now she's going to be trained, but what is her full end goal? We still don't know. So there is a whole lot that they can do if we get season 2. That rhymed. There's just so much that they can do. We saw, again, Yoda at the end. We saw Plagueis. Plagueis, what are you doing in this cave? What are you doing? How does Kair know that Plagueis is in there? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But what's happening there? Lots of people have been online, have been speculating about, Plagueis and how is he involved in this, and the whole bringing people back to life, and is that gonna, come in with, Palpatine telling Anakin about, like all that type of stuff. There's just lots of theories that are going to probably continuously, go out there. So the direction that the show can take is, there's a whole lot of wonderful things that they can do, a whole lot of it. But really quickly, bringing it back to Osha and Kair, while they're not romantically involved yet, the seeds have been planted, and I'm happy about that. The seeds, more than one seed has been planted for their potential, more than just master and acolyte relationship. So I'm very excited to see where this goes from here. I want to see incredible training montages. I want to see more continuous, this same level of lightsaber battles that the Acolyte delivered to us. This is, again, this is the next best we've gotten to prequel level of fighting. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see. So please give us more of that. Please give us more Osha and Kair. And I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic. So you guys have reached the end of my video, and if you stayed until the very, very end, I want to say thank you so much for that. So definitely go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell for notifications so that you guys can see when I post my next video. Also, I actually really love reading you guys' comments. It's so much fun. So definitely, if you have anything to say about my video, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll try my best to go ahead and respond. But yeah, this is the end, and until then, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.